Hello everyone, my name is Travis and welcome to another build review. This time I'm actually doing my raid build, so this is basically what I've been using for any endgame content before Lightfall, and is what I will be using for any type of endgame content post Lightfall. This build may change here and there as we go along, mainly depending on the seasonal mods. But let's hop into our subclass so I can at least show you what I'm rocking out there and why. So this build would not be the Doctor build without the Well of Radiance. Um, that and at least our Healing Rift will be the two main things to help heal everyone, including myself. But this basically, I think, gives you 35 seconds of continuous healing and 20% weapon damage boost. So your weapons become empowered while you're inside the Well of Radiance, and you're constantly getting healed. Once upon a time, there used to be a moment where you also got an Overshield, which basically made you godlike. But since that time ago, the Overlords, that is Bungie, decided to take that away when they did the whole rework of the subclass. But I still think it's one of the best subclasses out there. So for our rift, we are using a healing rift like I mentioned. This is mainly for my allies. I would be using an empowering rift, but my allies do have moments where they need the help, so I have a healing rift to help them out. Phoenix Dive, just don't bother using with this particular build just because Cure doesn't really do much. And I mean, Restoration, it would be good if it gave you a little bit more than just like 2 or 3 seconds of Restoration. So, Healing Rift, continuous healing for a little bit. For our movement, we're doing Burst Glide. Gotta have that speed, especially since, we're kind of lacking in that department. Celestial Fire, basically I have extra range while also scorching enemies, so I prefer that over Incinerator Snap. Fusion Grenade, because other than being one of the best grenades in the subclass, also will have a huge supporting factor in this overall build. Plus, it actually does do a pretty good job with scorching. So Touch of Flame, this aspect has proven to be very useful for this build and pretty much vital if you're going to run this build with a particular uh, chest piece, because your fusion grenades will explode twice. So double damage. I also do believe this means that you also get double application of Scorch as well, which you'll see why it's going to be good in a moment. Icarus Dash, we're using it mainly for its first ability, so getting that movement. It's always nice to have some extra movement, so any chance you can get, beautiful. We don't use it for its second ability because we're not really going to be airborne a lot of the time. Alright, so for our fragments, we have Ember Searing. So when we're scorching enemies, which we are going to be scorching enemies with both our melee and our grenade, if we can defeat scorched enemies, that could be with a weapon, with our melee or grenade, then it'll create a fire sprite. Plus, it'll generate melee energy. So that's nice that it has both. So basically, Ember of Searing is telling us, because if you pick up a fire sprite, it gives you grenade energy. So basically, when we can get a kill while the enemy's scorched, we're gaining grenade energy when we pick up the fire sprite and automatically gaining melee energy. With Ember of Singeing, when we simply just scorch enemies, our class ability will recharge faster. So that means we'll have a faster time bringing back our rift, therefore allowing us to use it more. Ember Blistering, in the event that we do make ignitions, which can easily happen, if you're not paying attention, I found myself igniting every now and then enemies. But if you do, those ignitions will give you grenade energy, which is very useful. And of course, when we use our Well of Radiance, and for those of you who use the Empowering Rift, will also benefit from this as well, because this works with both the Empowering Rift and the Well of Radiance. While you get the kills inside those said rifts, not only will you benefit from our class or from our chest piece, but you'll also be able to create a fire spray, and any kill inside the rift automatically will ignite the enemy. So you have to get the kill while inside the rift. And as we know, we get those ignitions, we get grenade energy back. We get the fire spray and pick it up, we get grenade energy back. So these fragments focus on creating a loop for our abilities, our 3 abilities. And it does it pretty consistently, in my opinion. So for our helmets, I'm using double ashes to assets. I think this is the best that it can be, because just remember, the more you stack for these mods, the more you can get diminishing returns. And honestly, the difference between 2 of these and three of these is negligible in my opinion. So 2 is the best in my opinion to go for. Depending on the game mode itself, I may opt in for Font of Wisdom. That's going to be for the vast majority of game modes. If it's like raids, then I will switch it out for Special Ammo Finder. And that's mainly because of the weapon I have in hand. But depending on the game mode and depending on the weapons you have, your mileage may vary. Just make sure you guys equip the right mods for the circumstance. If you have friends who have a hard time generating armor charges, then I would go with Powerful Friends. Sometimes I've actually equipped this a couple times here and there, and it's helped my allies get their mechanics going, get their engines rolling. And I would suggest this over this unless you can create your supers within like 15, 20 seconds. If you do that, then go with Radiant Light. But if you can produce the orbs quick enough, just go with Powerful Friends, because it gives them a free armor charge, as well as benefit you. But I go with Font of Wisdom mainly because I want my super to go up, and also because, just like my mobility, my intellect is also the lowest with mobility on this in this lineup, as you can see here. And that's mainly because now the game is at such a state where you don't need to focus into intellect, not like before. But I digress. Let's continue. So with my gauntlets are basically going to be where all the magic happens with your abilities. So I decided to go ahead and focus a lot into, in this case, orb generation and melee and class ability generation. Yeah, generation. So firepower, when I get those grenade kills, it drops an orb of power. Fusion grenades are one of the strongest in the lineup of solar grenades, so you're guaranteed to get an orb of power, unless you have a very tanky boss or a very beefy boss that just doesn't die from one grenade. Then throw these at the small guys. The small guys will give you free orbs. Also, while damaging enemies with a grenade, so that could be from the Scourge, essentially that can even be from the grenade kill itself, because that's technically damaging the enemy. That gives you free class ability energy. And it also reduces your melee cooldown, because anytime you're causing damage with a grenade, it reduces that. So, as you can see here, I put an emphasis for these last 2 on recharging the other 2 abilities to kind of give me a pseudo Heart of Inmost Light playstyle, so to speak, while also having a way to generate orbs. Which in this build, you'll find out that this is the only way out of the entire lineup, but we have other ways through our artifact. But we'll get there when we get there. So, the icing on the cake. The creme de la creme. The piece de la résistance. I'm horrible with these phrases. Please forgive me. We have the Starfire Protocol. Starfire Protocol back when it was contending for the best chess piece against the Heart of a Most Light. Both of them were two top best boys to have. Why? Because with Starfire Protocol, you get 2 fusion grenade charges. Only with fusion grenades. It can't be with any other ones. So if you have fusion grenades equipped with this, you get 2 of them. And with everything that we've explained so far, with how Scorching works, what it can do, the synergy that it can have of bringing your other class abilities back, you're basically going to get your 2 fusion grenade charges pretty easily and very consistently. Plus, while in an Empowering Rift or in a Well of Radiance, since both of those rifts will empower your weapons, anytime you cause damage with those said weapons, you will get your grenade energy back. It just gives it back to you. As of right now, it gives it back to you with such force, I guess, or with such, yeah, with such great consistency, you don't even think about it. Just use your well, just get the kills. Trust me, you don't even think about it within you, before you know it, like 2 seconds or 5 seconds later, boom, you got your grenade back. It's absolutely just bonkers what it can do right now. But I digress. So, with our chest, we have charged up because we're going to be producing our orbs of power. I want to try to increase the amount that I can carry as much as I can. Due to its high cost, well, I'm only going to equip 1. I also use solar reserves to carry the amount of ammo for my solar weapons, though I think this is more placebo than anything else because Callus Mini Tool doesn't go up when I had this equipped, but that just may be me. For our boots or leg armor, I have stacks on stacks, so this is similar to what we would call bountiful wells. So if you played the game before Lightfall, you guys would know that there used to be an elemental well mod. It was a solar helmet mod called Bountiful Wells, and Bountiful Wells was a two cost helmet mod. Basically what it did was when you picked up a solar elemental well, it gave you an extra one just for free. And Stacks on Stacks does the same thing with armor charges. So when you pick up an Orb of Power, it gives you 2 armor charges. And as you know, if we can get armor charges, we will proc Font of Wisdom, just like Bountiful Wells did back then. But we want to have this so we can carry as many of those armor charges as possible. Plus, since we're going to be picking up orbs, why not make use of them by also reducing our cooldown rate for our class ability, our Rift. So I have 2 of them on here. I tried to do Invigoration, Innervation, which is overkill in my opinion. Better Already just did not work for me at all, just because there really wasn't a moment where I was not in battle. And Recuperation, as good as this is, it's more like Cure. So I wouldn't really want my Guardian to be cured, even though it's for a good amount. I would rather have the ability to have continuous healing over burst healing, if you catch my drift. So for our Bond, the last armor piece here in our lineup, we have Time Dilation. So because we have our Font of Wisdom, that creates a decay over time for our armor charges. So it gives them about 10 seconds. Equipping Time Dilation should give each of those 15 seconds. So as you can imagine, we try to create as many orbs as we can, so that way we can just continue to feed Font of Wisdom. Font of Wisdom should give us 3 tiers of intellect. So because I have 18, as you can see on the right side now, that should jump it up to 48, which would be a lot more, and that means it's less time for me to get my super, which means I can spam it more. Also, while we are using our class ability energy, I will also be getting back my grenade cooldown as well. Well, I'll be lowering the cooldown of my grenade, so I'll be getting that back as well. So, pretty much I guess the loop in this case would be to use the grenade. You can use one or both. Use your rift to get said grenade energy back. If you scorched enemies, well then now you're getting your class ability to come back while doing that. Also use your melee, because if you can get the kill, that's free melee energy back plus free class ability energy back. Um, I did mention that there was another way to create orbs. So before I get into I guess a little bit more detail for this loop, here's another way. So as you guys notice, I have two void weapons, and then I have my primary. The reason why I have void weapons is because of volatile flow. So while getting our melee energy or our class ability energy back mainly to kind of keep this loop going, I'm also going to be proccing volatile flow. So if you have a void weapon, basically you get a damage boost from it. Keep in mind, this will also help get your grenade energy back if you are in your Well of Radiance. It will basically create a vulnerability when you shoot enemies, therefore allowing you to take full advantage of destroying them. Plus, while you're out there, I also have Brick from Beyond, so, when you defeat nice, strong, beefy boys, you're getting heavy ammo, which will help fuel any other heavy weapon that you have, especially if it's a void weapon. And if you're able to break shields that are void with void weapons, then there's another way to generate orbs, which seems like most of the game modes that I see nowadays do have void quite often. So, great opportunity while it lasts. But Starfire Protocol, really good armor piece. I'm going to show you what it synergizes with in a moment, but remember this. Use your healing rift or empowering rift, get grenade energy back through bomber. If we get our grenade kill, that will give us melee energy, that will give us class ability energy more than once because we are proccing boltering detonation, plus we are scorching them. So we get two ways there. Plus, if we pick up the orb that this produces, there's three ways to get our class ability energy back. We also have two different ways of getting our melee back through our grenade, because if we can kill an enemy that's scorched, which, will be through the grenade, most likely, or your weapon, then you get melee energy to come back. We're also getting our super to come back quicker because of our Ashes to Assets. So you got to get that grenade kill, and when you do, you gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. Plus, remember, when we pick up that orb, we're proccing time dilation to keep it going for longer, stacks on stacks to carry more of them, charge it up so that way we can try to max out at 5 if we can. And we're also proccing continuously, pretty much, Font of Wisdom. As long as you can get those kills with your grenade, you basically have Font of Wisdom up indefinitely, therefore guaranteeing that you're going to get your super back pretty consistently. Will this get it back in like 10 seconds, 20 seconds? Probably not. But you won't be spending a whole 7 minutes to get it back either. You're going to be spending, I would think, significantly less time. I think on average I can get this super to come back within like a minute or so, if everything just goes through the way it's supposed to. For our weapons of choice, we have the Wither Horde. So this is basically one of a handful of weapons that synergize really well with the Starfire Protocol. So basically when you pop your rift and you throw your Wither Horde at the enemy and you hit them, you basically don't think. It's giving you back your grenade energy immediately. So then that's why you might see some people chuck like 6 grenades or 7 grenades within one Wither Horde shot. I've actually done that before, where I think I've maxed out like 7 throws just because I was able to get an ignition somewhere in there and get kills with it. So I would definitely say Witherhoard is a really good contender if you also have Osteostriga, another exotic. Let me show you guys. If you have the Osteostriga, this is also another really good option just because it has poison damage. So if you can get those critical hits and you do a steady stream of them, it just starts ticking. And that tick damage is what's going to give you back your grenade energy. Same thing with Witherhoard. Actually, same thing with all of these weapons, really. You can use any weapon, really, while you're in your Empowering Rift or your Well of Radiance. Any weapon that you shoot the enemy with counts as an empowered weapon, so getting your grenade back super fast. Let's just say. If you can proc Volatile Flow, this is the reason why I would have, as of right now with this season, have Retrofit Escapade. I found this to be a better DPS than the Typhon because, well, they've kind of nerfed linear fusion rifles, which sucks, but hey, what can you do? Retrofit, really good with target lock, ramp up damage for free, plus, 20% from your Rift, Well of Radiance, that is. And 4 times the charm, you're getting ammo back, so it's like, hey, free damage. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all that I have to offer for this build. I pretty much used it in in-game content. Super happy with this. And if you like it, then give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I will have more builds in the to review, as you can see. I've already reviewed my Strand build, so you can give that a look on my channel. And who knows, maybe I'll do my other solar build so you can see the other side of what you can do with this with Well of Radiance. Or maybe I'll try some of these others. Who knows? But I'll see you guys next time, and whatever I decide to do, till then, see you guys later. Oh, and by the way, in the comments, if you have a way to improve this build, I'm always open for suggestions, so feel free to put it down there. Alright, ta-ta for now.